The unexpected encounter. The meteor streaked across the night sky with an urgency that made Dr. Chen look up from his telescope, coffee mug frozen halfway to his lips. "That's not following any natural trajectory," he muttered, tracking the object as it veered sharply east, then plummeted toward the dense forest surrounding his remote observatory. He should call it in. That was protocol. Any anomalous atmospheric event needed to be reported immediately. Instead, Dr. Chen found himself grabbing his emergency kit and heading into the woods, curiosity overriding procedure. The impact site wasn't difficult to find. A trail of broken trees led to a small clearing where something metallic gleamed in the moonlight. Steam rose from scorched earth, carrying a scent like ozone and something sweeter, almost like cinnamon. "Hello?" Dr. Chen called out, approaching cautiously. "Is anyone there?" A sound like crystalline wind chimes answered him. Dr. Chen stepped closer, his flashlight revealing what was clearly not a meteor, but a small craft. Its surface rippled like liquid mercury despite appearing solid. Movement caught his eye. A figure emerged from behind the craft, stumbling slightly. Dr. Chen's breath caught in his throat. She, and despite her alienness, something about her stance read as feminine to him, stood slightly taller than an average human. Her skin gleamed a soft purple in the moonlight. Her eyes were large, expressive, and a startling shade of silver. "Stay back," Dr. Chen warned, though he made no move to retreat himself. "I don't know if you understand me." The being tilted her head, then raised her hands slowly, palms forward, in what seemed like a universal gesture of peace. She spoke, but the sounds were unlike any language Dr. Chen had ever heard, melodic and complex. "I'm Dr. Chen," he said, tapping his chest. "This is Earth. You've crashed." He gestured toward her damaged craft. She nodded, then winced, revealing a gash along her arm that leaked a shimmering blue substance. "You're hurt," Dr. Chen said, medical training overriding caution. "Let me help." The being hesitated, then stepped forward, extending her injured arm. Dr. Chen opened his medical kit and worked silently, applying antiseptic and bandages, noting how her anatomy, while alien, shared surprising similarities with human physiology. "I should report this," Dr. Chen said, more to himself than to her. "But that would mean—" He trailed off, thinking of government facilities, experiments, fear-driven protocols. The being spoke again, this time placing her hand gently on his wrist. One word emerged that sounded almost like Aya. "Aya? Is that your name?" She nodded. "You understand me," Dr. Chen realized with a start. "But how?" Aya tapped her temple, then pointed to his head and made a flowing gesture between them. "You're learning as we speak. Some kind of adaptive language acquisition?" She nodded again, looking relieved at his understanding. Thunder rumbled in the distance. The damaged craft gave a concerning spark. "It's not safe here," Dr. Chen said. "Come with me. We can figure this out." Aya looked at her ship, then at the approaching storm, and finally at Dr. Chen. She made a decision, gathering a small container from her craft, then nodding. As they walked back toward the observatory, Dr. Chen knew he was violating every protocol, potentially risking his career and maybe much more. But something about Aya's presence felt important, like standing at the threshold of understanding that humanity had sought for centuries. "I hope I don't regret this," he murmured. Aya responded with what sounded almost like a laugh.
Breaking barriers. The morning light filtered through the observatory dome, casting prismatic patterns across Aya as she examined Dr. Chen's collection of star charts with evident fascination. 3 days had passed since her arrival, and already the purple-hued visitor moved with increasing confidence through the human space. "Your understanding of the neighboring systems is incomplete," Aya said, her voice carrying a musical lilt that made even criticism sound gentle. "This cluster here isn't dormant as you've labeled it." Dr. Chen looked up from the communication device he was trying to repair from her ship. "Your English is improving remarkably fast." "I'm not learning English exactly," Aya explained, setting down the star chart. "I'm learning you, the patterns of thought behind your words." She tapped her temple. "My people connect differently." Chen found himself studying her again, the graceful way she moved, how her silver eyes reflected light like twin moons. "Is everyone like you where you come from?" "Similar, but unique, like your earth trees, same roots, different branches." She paused, watching him work. "You haven't told anyone about me." It wasn't a question, but Chen answered anyway. "I should have, but the protocols would mean locking you away, studying you like a specimen." His fingers fumbled with a delicate component. "I'm a scientist, but some things deserve better than cold analysis." Aya moved closer, her scent reminiscent of rain-soaked wildflowers. "Let me help," she offered, taking the device. "Your tools are primitive, but functional." Their hands brushed, sending an unexpected warmth of Chen's arm. He pulled back slightly, surprised by his reaction. "Sorry, I'm not used to physical proximity," she finished for him, a knowing expression crossing her features. "Your adrenaline levels spike when we touch. Fear?" "Not fear," Chen admitted, feeling heat rise to his face. "Something else." A series of rapid beeps from his security system interrupted the moment. Chen jumped to his feet. "Someone's coming up the drive." Aya's posture changed instantly. "Is this danger?" "Possibly." Chen moved to the monitors. "It's Cooper, my research associate." He turned to Aya with concern. "He wasn't supposed to visit until next week." Aya looked toward the small bedroom where pieces of her technology were spread out. "Hide me." "No time," Chen said. And Cooper's observant. He'd noticed something. He made a split-second decision. "We tell him a partial truth. You're a visiting researcher whose transport broke down." Aya nodded quickly, gathering her most alien-looking tech and concealing it. Cooper's knock came minutes later. Chen opened the door with forced casualness. "Cooper, this is unexpected." "Funding review got moved up," Cooper explained, stepping inside before freezing at the sight of Aya. "You didn't mention having company." "This is Aya," Chen said smoothly. "She's doing independent research on atmospheric anomalies." Cooper extended his hand, eyes narrowed with professional curiosity. "Strange area to conduct research alone." Aya hesitated before taking his hand. "The isolation provides clearer readings," she replied, her accent now deliberately pronounced. "Where are you from exactly?" Cooper asked, not releasing her hand. "Your research institution." Chen intercepted. "Cooper, did you bring the budget projections? We should review them." Cooper reluctantly shifted focus, but kept glancing at Aya, particularly at her unusual coloring. "Interesting skin tone, some kind of condition." "Genetic variation. Rare, but natural." Later, after reviewing research materials with evident suspicion, Cooper pulled Chen aside. "Something's off about your friend," he whispered. "Her knowledge of astrophysics is extraordinary, but inconsistent with current methodologies." "She has unconventional approaches," Chen defended. "I ran her credentials while you were making coffee," Cooper said flatly. "There's no record of any researcher matching her description." Chen felt cold dread settle in his stomach. "Cooper, I don't know what you're involved in, but I'm concerned." Cooper's expression softened slightly. "We've worked together for years. Whatever this is, you can trust me." Before Chen could respond, Aya appeared in the doorway. "Dr. Chen isn't doing anything wrong," she said quietly. "But what I am cannot be explained easily." She looked between them. "Your friend deserves truth, not deception." Chen hesitated, then nodded. "Cooper, what I'm about to show you changes everything we know about life in the universe." Aya reached for a small device, activating a holographic display of star systems unknown to human astronomy. "I am not from your world,
and I need Dr. Chen's help to return to mine." Cooper's expression shifted from suspicion to wonder to fear. An actual extraterrestrial visitor here? He looked at Chen. "Do you realize what this means?" "I do," Chen said firmly, "which is why no one else can know. Not yet." Cooper fell silent, his scientific mind visibly processing the implications. "The government would—" "Exactly," Chen interrupted. "Help us, Cooper, or at least promise not to reveal her." Cooper looked at Aya with new understanding. "I need to think," he said finally, moving toward the door. "I'll be back tomorrow with my decision." As the door closed behind him, Aya turned to Chen. "He will tell others." Chen nodded grimly. "We need to be ready to leave immediately."
The hunt begins. The pre-dawn darkness shrouded Dr. Chen and Aya as they loaded essential equipment into his weathered jeep. Every shadow seemed to harbor a potential threat, every distant sound causing them to pause and listen. "Cooper made his choice," Chen muttered, securing Aya's repaired communication device beneath the tarp. "He waited less than 6 hours before contacting authorities." Aya stood unnaturally still, her silver eyes scanning the forest edge. "They're already coming," she said, her voice carrying an odd harmonious undertone when stressed. "Multiple vehicles approaching from the south ridge." Chen slammed the trunk shut. "How can you possibly know that?" "Your atmosphere carries vibrations efficiently," she explained, already moving toward the passenger door. "My people evolved to sense such patterns." As if confirming her warning, the distant rumble of engines became audible to Chen's ears. He jumped behind the wheel, starting the engine. "We'll take the maintenance access road through the northern forest," he explained, killing the headlights as they pulled away from the observatory. "It's barely more than a trail, but it connects to the highway eventually." They navigated the rough terrain in tense silence, the jeep jostling violently over exposed roots and washouts. Through the trees behind them, flashing lights painted the night in urgent blues and reds. "Government response is faster than I anticipated," Chen said grimly. "Cooper must have convinced them this was serious." Aya clutched her small container of personal items. "He showed them images of my technology." Chen glanced over sharply. "How do you know?" "I left a passive sensor," she admitted. "Your friend wasn't just concerned. He was afraid." The radio crackled to life with an emergency broadcast. "All units be advised. Potential extraterrestrial contact reported at Clearwater Observatory. Approach with extreme caution. Specialized containment unit en route." Chen switched it off with a curse. "Who's leading the response?" "Does it matter?" asked Aya, her purple skin seeming to absorb the moonlight filtering through the trees. "If it's who I think it is, then yes," Chen replied, accelerating as they finally reached a paved road. "Kai Marshall, government specialist in anomalous entities, rumored to have handled previous unexplained phenomena." He shot her a worried look. "He's methodical, brilliant, and utterly without sentiment when it comes to national security." They drove through the night, avoiding main highways and populated areas. As dawn broke, Chen pulled into a roadside motel far enough from the observatory to buy them time, but not so far as to appear fleeting. "Wait here," he instructed, returning minutes later with a room key. "It's not much, but it'll give us a chance to rest and plan." The motel room was sparse but clean. Aya moved to the window, pulling the curtain back slightly to observe the parking lot. "Your heart rate is elevated," she noted, without turning. "Fear or exhaustion?" "Both," Chen admitted, sitting heavily on the bed. "I need to contact my sister Sarah." He pulled out his phone hesitantly. "She has a cabin in the mountains, isolated enough to give us breathing room." "Can you trust her?" asked Aya, finally turning from the window. Chen considered the question. "Sarah and I don't always see eye to eye. She left academia to live off the grid years ago." A faint smile crossed his face. "She always said humanity wasn't ready for what's beyond our atmosphere." A wise assessment, Aya said quietly. The call was brief and tense. When Chen hung up, his expression was complicated. She'll help us, but she's not happy about it. She fears me, Aya stated simply. She fears what you represent, Chen corrected. The unknown, change, confirmation that everything she worried about was justified. They rested in shifts, neither fully relaxing. By mid-afternoon, they were back on the road, taking increasingly remote routes toward the mountains. Chen's phone buzzed with news alerts about an incident at the observatory, carefully worded to avoid panic while ensuring public vigilance. They're being strategic, not announcing your existence outright, but preparing people to report anything unusual. As they wound higher into the mountains, Aya suddenly stiffened. Aircraft, she warned, circling pattern, approximately 3 kilometers north. Chen veered onto a logging road, cutting the engine in the shelter of dense pine trees. They're using search patterns, he said, watching the helicopter through the canopy. They know the general direction, but not our exact location. Your sister's dwelling? Aya asked. Another hour, if we can move safely, Chen replied. But we'll need to proceed on foot for the last stretch. The road ends well before her property. As dusk approached, they abandoned the jeep in a natural depression, covering it with branches. Chen shouldered a backpack containing Aya's equipment while she carried the small container that never left her possession. Your body temperature is dropping, she observed, as they hiked through increasingly difficult terrain. This altitude affects you. I'll manage, Chen assured her, though his breath formed visible clouds in the cooling air. They crested a final ridge as night fell completely, revealing a small cabin nestled against the mountainside, a single light glowing from within. Before they could approach, a figure emerged from the shadows of the porch, the unmistakable silhouette of a rifle in hand. That's far enough, Sarah's voice carried clearly through the mountain air. Both of you stay where you can be seen. Chen raised his hands slowly. It's us, Sarah. I know who you are. What I don't know is what you've brought to my doorstep. Aya stepped forward, her purple skin luminescent in the moonlight. I am what your people have searched the skies for since they first looked up, she said simply. And now your government searches for me. Sarah's rifle didn't waver. Give me one reason I shouldn't turn you in myself. Because you know what they'll do to her, and to anyone who helped her. A tense silence hung between them before Sarah finally lowered her weapon with a resigned sigh. 3 days, she stated firmly. Then you both need to be gone.
Hidden truths. Sarah's cabin became an uneasy sanctuary, the mountain's isolation providing temporary safety while tensions simmered between the siblings. You've risked everything for her, Sarah whispered harshly as they watched Aya examining earth plants in the small garden. Your career, your freedom. For what? For understanding, Chen replied, not taking his eyes off the purple visitor. She's not what we imagined aliens would be, Sarah. She's more. Sarah shook her head. The government's mobilized like I've never seen. Kai Marshall himself is leading the search. Chen turned sharply. How do you know that name? I have my own connections, Sarah said cryptically. People who monitor these things. Kai doesn't just hunt aliens, Chen. He collects them. That evening, as firelight cast dancing shadows across the cabin walls, Aya finally opened her mysterious container. Inside lay crystalline structures that pulsed with internal light. My true purpose, she explained, as Chen and Sarah watched in fascination. My people are dying. A molecular degradation affecting our genetic structure. She arranged the crystals in a pattern. Earth holds unique biological markers, compatible elements that could save us. You're not an explorer. You're a doctor. Aya nodded.
My ship contains sample gathering equipment, not weapons. Her silver eyes reflected the firelight. We've observed your species for generations, waiting for signs of readiness. And you decided we were ready? Sarah asked skeptically. Not entirely, I admitted, but necessity forced our timeline. My mission was reconnaissance only until the crash. Chen reached hesitantly toward the crystals. These contain your people's DNA? Before Aya could answer, the distant sound of helicopter rotors shattered the moment. They found us, Sarah hissed, as already moving to douse the fire. Through the window, searchlights swept the forest below. A voice amplified by speakers echoed through the mountains. Dr. Chen, this is Agent Kai Marshall. We know you're harboring the extraterrestrial entity. Surrender peacefully, and no harm will come to either of you. Chen felt Aya's hand slip into his. He's lying. Sarah emerged from the back room with 3 backpacks. Underground tunnel leads to a ravine. It'll buy you time. She handed Chen a small satellite phone. My contact, when you're clear. Your mysterious contact. Sarah nodded. People who have lost loved ones to Kai's operations. They've been waiting for proof like Aya. By dawn, their desperate plan was in motion. Sarah would lead a diversionary team drawing forces away from the observatory, while Chen and Aya returned to the crash site. The siblings embraced briefly. Don't die, Sarah whispered. Take care of her, she added, glancing at Aya. Hours later, as reports of insurgent activity drew government forces south, Chen and Aya slipped through forest shadows toward the observatory. Almost there, Chen whispered as they approached the crash site, now surrounded by temporary structures and equipment. A figure stepped from behind a tree, weapon raised. I knew you'd return. Kai Marshall stood blocking their path, looking remarkably ordinary for someone so feared. The alien technology requires its user. Predictable. Chen moved protectively in front of Aya. She just wants to go home. Home? Kai laughed softly. Do you know how many entities I've contained claiming peaceful intentions? How many biological threats I've neutralized? Is that what happened to Isabel? Chen challenged. Something flickered in Kai's eyes. Collateral damage in humanity's protection. You're wrong about Aya. Her people could help us. I can't take that chance, Kai replied, raising his weapon. What happened next occurred in heartbeats. Aya lunged forward with unhuman speed as Chen shouted a warning. The weapon discharged, but Aya had already reached Kai, her hands grasping his temples. Kai froze, eyes widening as some invisible exchange passed between them. When Aya released him, he stumbled back, weapon dropping from limp fingers. What did you do? Chen asked. Showed him truth, Aya replied simply. My people's suffering, our hopes, his own fears. Kai looked between them, expression transformed. All this time, fighting shadows of my own making. An explosion rocked the south end perimeter, Sarah's diversion working perfectly. Go, Kai said suddenly. I'll report the alien destroyed in containment attempt. He looked at Aya with newfound understanding. Some truths humanity isn't ready for. At the ship, Aya worked quickly, aligning crystals with Earth's magnetic field. The communication array hummed to life, sending signals across unimaginable distances. Will you come with me? She asked Chen as they waited. My world could use someone who sees beyond fear. Chen looked at the night sky, then back to her violet features. I would, but I'm needed here, to prepare humanity for when your people return. He touched her face gently. Their final kiss contained both promise and farewell as distant lights appeared in the atmosphere, her people responding with remarkable speed. This isn't an ending, Aya whispered against his lips. No, Chen agreed.
It's a beginning. As her rescue ship descended in brilliant light, Chen stepped back, watching the impossible become reality. Whatever came next, government cover-ups, scientific revelations, or personal consequences, understanding had bridged the gap between two worlds. Aya's final words echoed in his mind as she ascended. Humans fear what they don't understand until one chooses to stay and learn. In this case, he thought, watching stars reclaim the night, that human had been him.